All right, now we are going to use this block matrix multiplication. So inside here, A, B, and C are matrices, and so are X, Y, and Z. So what we're looking to find is X equal, Y equal, and Z equal in terms of A, B, and C. Okay, so we are given the fact that A, B, and C are invertible. So let's do the matrix multiplication on the left-hand side. So being careful with the order. So this row times this column gives me A times I plus B times X. The order really matters, right? And so here I'm going to have C times I plus 0 times X. I'm just putting in the 0x just for effect. All right, so let's move on to this first row times this second column. So I have A times 0 plus B times Y, and then this is going to give me C times 0 plus 0 times Y. And this is all equal to 0I, Z, 0. All right, so let's look. I'm going to clean this left-hand side up a little bit here. So I have A plus BX, and this is just C. This here would be BY, and this is 0. So it's equal to 0I, Z, 0. All right, so this 0 equals 0. That's a good thing. And here I have that Z equals C. So I've got one done already. All right, so let's look at this equals this. So I have BY equals I, and I know I can multiply on the left by B inverse. So multiplying on the left by B inverse gives me Y equal B inverse. All right, just have one more to go. So I'm going to take this equaling this. So A plus BX equals 0. So I'm going to subtract A, because it's a matrix, moving over to the other side. I know that B is invertible, so I'm going to multiply on the left by B inverse. And this negative sign can come out in front, but make sure we keep the order the same. So X is equal to negative B inverse A. All right, let's move on to this next one here. So the same thing, I'm going to work the multiplication on this left-hand side. So I get X times A, right? Multiplying this row times this column. Then I get a 0 and a 0. So that's all I get. All right, this row times this column gives me a YA plus a 0 plus an I times a B, which just gives me a B. All right, so moving to this row times this column gives me XZ plus a 0 plus a 0. Then this row times this column gives me YZ plus a 0 plus an I squared, which is just an I. So this all equals I0, I0I. Okay, so let's go for something really straightforward. I'm looking at this. So XA is equal to I. So remember, we're solving for X. So I'm going to multiply on the right by A inverse. So that gives me X equal A inverse. Okay, got one of them. X is equal to A inverse. So let's look at this one next. So I have XZ equals 0. So I'm trying to solve for Z. So I already know what X is equal to. X is equal to A inverse. So let's substitute that in. And let's multiply on the left by A on both sides. So this gives me Z equal, and 0 times the matrix A gives me 0. All right, so all I have left to do is to solve for the B, and I'm going to use this equal this. So YA plus B is 0. So I'm going to solve for B. So I have YA is equal to negative B. And since I want to solve for B, I'll move the negative to the other side. And, oh no, I want to solve for Y. Sorry about that. No, I'm going to keep that there since I want to erase that step. So I want to solve for y, so I'm going to multiply on the right by A inverse. Multiply on the right by A inverse, so that gives me y equal negative b A inverse. Ugh.